Okay, so I don't know if you've heard of BRICS. Should by now. If you haven't, I don't know why you're watching this video, but BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And they are, it's basically a conglomeration of countries for economic buying power, essentially. So they're setting up their own little their own little club, if you will, almost like a NATO, to counter seemingly what it would be is to counter the U.S. stronghold on money and economic power throughout the world. So, but that's just my speculation there. But now, as it would show, there's Turkey, which is a NATO member, is looking to get into BRICS. Ooh, so there's a little bit of crossover going on here. This could be a bit of a problem. I'm going to read this article. This is the Business Insider. Let's see what they have to say about this. Turkey's balancing act with BRICS may stoke NATO fears, but the West need not be too worried, analysts say. Earlier this month, a spokesperson for Turkey's ruling AK party said that a process was underway for Turkey to join the BRICS group of emerging market nations. Our president has stated at various times that we won't, or that we want to be a member of BRICS. Our request on this issue is clear. This process is underway in this framework, but there is no concrete development on this. The BRICS group, named after members Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, were formed to challenge the political and economic power of developed Western nations. Since its first informal meetings in 2006, when it was known as just BRIC, South Africa came later, the bloc has grown to include Ethiopia, Iran, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Saudi Arabia was also invited to join, but a Saudi official said in January it had yet to do so. Should Turkey now join the bloc, it would become its first NATO member and EU candidate, potentially complicating ties with the West and raising questions over Turkey's commitment to the military alliance. The problem with that there is now you're going to get some strange crossover and could cause a bit of sort of diplomatic issues between NATO and BRICS. Already, as you see with Russia and the whole Ukraine thing, there's already that crossover that's happening, right? So really, it kind of is like NATO versus BRICS in that instance. And then if you factor in the idea that these countries are now they're gonna form this union, this economic union, whose likely dollar is going to be the dollar that they use? Are they going to create their own dollar like the EU type thing, or are they going to, like the euro, I should say, or are they going to use the Chinese yen? I mean, it would seem fair to assume that it's probably going to be the Chinese yen. And if that happens, you don't need to be an economist or a financial person to understand that it's probably what's going to happen there is a lot of the US dollars that are sitting in reserve, in countries' banks and such, are going to be recalled. Essentially, these debt notes, which is all a dollar is going to now be called back on. They're going to be looked to sell their money back to the States. And if it happens if it happens in en masse, essentially, if a lot of countries do it at the same time, well, that could cause a real problem for the U.S. Also, there's other things like the ability to sanction other countries if your currency is the reserve currency, right? So if the U.S. dollar is no longer the reserve currency, sanctions aren't going to mean anything anymore to these countries. They're just not going to give a shit. So there's a lot of nuance in this kind of a move. It seems like a small move, and they kind of, you can see the Business Insider is trying to really make it like it's a small thing, but all these little small actions lead up to a big result, right? So this Turkey might just be the first in, and then you see a bunch of countries do the same thing, get off the US dollar, and that's problems for the West. I mean, no doubt it has something to do with the fact that the US has had a declining reputation across the global stage for a while. 4 years of a sleeping president probably didn't help. So this election cycle is going to be in a lot. I would say for this. I'm not reading any more of this article. It kind of just goes on more nonsensical with its disparaging the idea that this is a big problem for the West or or diplomacy in general. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with this election cycle. If the wrong party is to win, this could just this could further push this BRICS onto other countries. And if the other one wins, I'm not sure. Not sure if he puts a stop to it. Oh, I gave a little bit away there, or if they carry on with it anyways. So we'll have to see what goes on in the next little while with this.